Hello, artists. This here is my example of a paper sculpture. You can only see it from a bird's eye view now. I'm going to try to kind of tilt it, but not quite everything is glued down. But I'm pretty proud of it. I think it looks super fun. I think it looks like a futuristic, abstract amusement park of some kind. And that's actually what I was intentionally trying to do. So some parts, you can see it's falling apart, but you don't usually have to move it around like that. Parts can come out, so this part can come out so that this flattens back down. Maybe when the park closes at night, this part can be moved around. This part can be moved around. But let's talk about what you're all going to do, because this is just my example. So your challenge is to make a sculpture out of paper. And as you can see, there's so many ways that you can fold and manipulate paper to do really interesting, cool things. There is an image that I attached to this assignment that has even more examples of folds and cuts that you can do than what I did, but I want to show you at least some because you might look at some of them and not know how to do them. And you can make something really cool with just a pair of scissors and paper, and preferably some glue or tape. If you don't have glue or tape, if you really don't have that anywhere in your house, you could do, that's why some of mine aren't glued down, but you won't be able to do everything here without something sticky. You don't have to do this with colored paper either. You can do this with regular drawing paper, and then maybe you draw decorations on it first. Maybe you draw some marker patterns across your paper so that it's not plain white. I would not fully color it in because your paper is going to get all soggy then, unless you're using colored pencils or crayons. But you don't have to do this with colored paper either. I promise this could look really cool with, in fact, I did this with older students as paper sculptures where that's what they had to do. They had to decorate their plain white paper first and then cut that decorated paper up to make their sculptures. Okay, so you do need to find a surface to build on. And again, preferably something a little harder, but it's not the end of the world. You just won't be able to pick it up and carry it around as easily if it's not hard. I used the back of a Super Healthy cereal. I'm not going to give it away, but some of you probably know what it is. Yes, adults eat junk food too. And I cut that up to use it as my base. You could use a piece of cardboard, just a thick piece of paper. Ask an adult for some help finding something sturdy to glue on. So what are some of these folds? Well, one of the easiest ones to do is like this big yellow arch that I did. And you do that by giving a strip of paper that you cut, I call it giving it feet. So all you have to do is fold both ends, and now you've got a piece of paper that has 2 feet so that it can kind of stand wherever you glue it down. Yay! You could also, it looks like a little dancing feet legs. You could fold, you could do stuff to the part in the middle first. So maybe instead of an arch like I did here, I have this triangular sculpture shape. Now is when, so that one, unlike the arch, I could just leave this one. I don't have to glue it down. But I'd like these to be glued if you can do that. Because if this were a future amusement park, you would probably get sued if your big sculptural pieces were falling on people or moving around. We don't want any lawsuits here. And count to 10 when you glue something down. So I'm probably at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's look at a few more fun things because I don't want to lose your attention. How about this one where you could do some kind of a square or circular spiral that moves. So if you want it to be a square, you have to do your best to cut a square out of paper first. And then you start on one side and kind of make your way around, but not cutting all the way to the end. I think you know how to do this, but if not, it's always helpful to see somebody else do it again to remind you. And you just keep going, you spiral your way in, never cutting all the way to the edge. Always be careful where your fingers are with scissors. I know you know that, because we use scissors in class. And I've never had somebody hurt themselves. Oh my gosh, knock on wood. And now I think that's as far as I can go. So I can give it a little stretch so that it has some bounce to it. And I can glue that down there. Now in my example one, I covered my cardboard first. So you could do that before you start adding these shapes. Don't glue your whole spirally, squirrely shape. Only glue the little outside and find a home for that. For a zigzag one, again, I think you know some of these already. Let's do it in red. You need a paper strip first. And you're going to fold back and forth, an accordion fold, like if you were making a paper fan. Back and forth. So just a reminder, because I think my students know how to do this. Back and forth. Now if you wanted to glue this down, that's a little harder, because that's why we put feet on things, or we glue flat pieces of paper. It's very hard to glue along a skinny little edge like this. That's why mine isn't glued down. If you wanted to, you might have to do something like this red one that has feet cut all along it. It's a little hard to try to do here. In fact, I think I'm going to leave this one alone, but I'll show you how you could do that. So let's say I wanted to do that with, I'm going to cut myself kind of a medium thick piece. I'm going to fold it in half. Remember, you can pause on these videos. And now I only folded it in half so that I could see where to cut a bunch of little feet. And those are going to fold accordion style. I'm going to do one this way, one the opposite way, one this way, one the opposite way. So now, how cool, I've got this checker pattern that I can glue down maybe in a curve. If this were longer, like this one, I could have it dancing across the whole paper. This one is going to be important to hold down and count to 10. In fact, if you have a little bit of tape, it might help you to keep it in place. So, because this is kind of hard for the glue to even hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my gosh, if you're still watching, you are so patient. But if you're worried that's not going to stay, look at mine staying. You could put a little piece of tape temporarily or leave it there to keep it still. Let's look at one more of these folds, because this one I think you can figure out now. It's like I gave it little legs like that, but I cut slits into it too, so that I could put things inside of it. Maybe I could draw little characters on here. I like these being interactive, like a cool interactive future playground, like I said. Let's look at the fringe that I did, and a roll, because I did these cool orange decorative curls. So to do the curl, take a pencil or a pen or a marker and tightly wound your paper. Pull your pencil out and you've got a nice tight curl. You can kind of stretch it out. So I could just glue that down somewhere, like the cool curl it is, or I can kind of pull it back out and carefully cut skinny strips on the end. They don't have to be perfectly the same size, just do not cut all the way and be careful where your fingers are. Your fingies, don't cut your fingies. Oh, look at that fun fringe. Love a good fringe on hair, clothes, and paper. All right, let's glue this side. So that's it for my advice on some of these, because I think that you can invent your own paper folds. I want this one's not very finished looking. I want your finished ones to have variety, to have different heights and different sizes of paper all over it. I want to see, if you don't use color, I want your paper to maybe be a little decorated, and I want you to have fun. Submit your pictures to me on Seesaw.